Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of the WeCoach podcast on Wisp Sports. Every 2 weeks, we go one-on-one with some of the greatest women coaches, administrators, and industry leaders in the world of sports for insightful and inspiring conversations. I'm your host, Megan Kahn, CEO of WeCoach. This podcast is a co-production of WeCoach and Wisp Sports. WeCoach is the premier nonprofit organization committed to keeping and advancing women in the coaching profession. Through our in-person and online programming and content, we are empowering current female coaches and inspiring the next generation of young girls who dream of following in their footsteps. Today's guest, Drury women's basketball head coach Molly Miller, knows a thing or two about winning. In her sixth season as head coach, Molly has the Panthers ready to make another run at a national title. Following last season's Final Four loss, their only loss of the season, they currently sit undefeated and kick off the GLVC tournament. Molly also just gave birth to a baby boy just about 1 month ago. We're going to talk with her more about that as we get into the show. Hey, Molly, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for making time for being here. I know your life's crazy right now.
Yeah, no, this is great. I appreciate you having me and love doing this type of stuff.
So we have to know, are you getting any sleep?
Actually, he's a pretty good sleeper. Sai is my baby boy who was born January 23rd, which is easy for us to remember. I just tell, because my husband was asking his birth date the other day. I'm like, Michael Jordan's number, don't you know? Like, that's easy, put it in your brain. So it's not too bad, as a new mom, you kind of have to regulate when you're nursing, when you're sleeping, when you're, doing your work obligations. So it's been kind of a fun juggling act just because it keeps me busy and I feel, youthful, not just being a bump on the log all the time. There's lots of balls in the air right now.
And remind me, when your older one, Crosby, was born, was that during season as well, or was that in a off-season time period?
It was, yeah, quote unquote off season. She was born July 30th. But the funny thing about that, I just feel like as a coach, there's never really a good time. And you can probably relate, you're just all season, all long, every season's a little different, but it's busy in a different way. I know the third day that she was alive, we had a huge recruit on campus that I could not miss this official visit. So here was my mom following me around in my shadows with a newborn, and we were doing this recruiting visit. So it's like, when it's a good time, you just kind of make it all work.
That's right. And I love having this conversation with you because I think as we're going to get into this conversation, there's so many women out there that don't think they can do it all and do it well, being a mom and being a coach, and you're proving that you can do both really well.
Yeah, well, thanks. That's something that I love about my current position is my ability to kind of blend the two together, and it's just worked really well. And that's probably the number one thing. Becoming a mom, I wasn't a mom when I first started my coaching career, but after having a family and growing that family, like kind of my number one is to get that message across to our girls, our basketball team, our players, that you can do both really well, and whatever career you aspire to, go for it. You can be a good mom and a good career woman, and that's super important. And that's probably the biggest example I want to give to our kids moving forward, is that you can do both and you can do both well.
So be really candid. Do you ever have mom guilt?
Yeah, of course. I have mom guilt for the 15 players that I'm coaching, and I have mom guilt for my 2 biological kids at home. And I think that's something right now that as we get into postseason, I want to give all my attention to this team, but I also know that, hey, 2 little ones are really relying on me, especially the littlest. And so I've got really good support. And I think that's where you've got to kind of put your stock in, is your village. And my assistant coaches, oh my goodness, they're phenomenal. They're doing some individual workouts right now. Their scouts are always on point. It's something that I don't really have to worry about when it comes to the little nuances of the program. It seems like they have it all taken care of. So building your support system, I think, is huge. And that takes a lot of stress off of, the mom guilt or the coach's guilt, because you're going to feel it regardless. But know that you've got good people around you that are kind of pulling their weight and helping things run smooth.
Well, and for all of our future moms, I hope they just that are listening, I hope they took that advice to heart there, because it's about your support system, not only with the team and then, outside the team as well. I know your family's close and pitches in a lot.
Yeah, and networking. I mean, even like through WeCoach. I mean, there's been a lot of people that I've bounced ideas off of in the coaching community, my peers who are moms, or my peers who have been successful at one or the other. Like, it's just important to get out there, shake hands, know some people, because everyone has different experiences you can pull from. So I think that's really important to build your network and build your support system. Even if you're kind of in the beginning stages of your career, if you're thinking of going that direction, if you're thinking of starting a family, talk to people.
That's awesome advice. And I'm going to go back to, as we talk about the village and your assistant coaches handling so many of the nuances. Little fun fact. So one of your assistants is my former college teammate, Amy Egan, and bringing in a veteran assistant to your staff this year. Was that intentional because you knew you were going to be having a baby mid-season, or did it just align that way?
The stars really aligned. Obviously, I did want to get someone with a lot of experience. One, because this program is such at a high level, they deserve that. And to have two assistants, and Coach Egan and Coach Shield, that have been head coaches before at our level and have been really successful, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And we couldn't have, picked a better trio to kind of run this program. It's definitely a teamwork, and I'm so thankful for those two. And Coach Egan was just the perfect addition. We're both kind of the same person. We're ultra competitive, and it kind of shows sometimes. And it's nice for her to be kind of my voice when I'm gone, because she's one that'll push the kids just like me. She's demanding, yet she'll put her arm around them, and she's just been the perfect addition. And we've really worked well together as a team, kind of to help this program to reach our goals this year.
Well, and that's the Egan I remember as a player, so that doesn't surprise me to hear you say that now. Okay, I want to talk about, we alluded to it when we first jumped on the line here today. Talk about the day Saya was born, and then the 48 hours that transpired after that.
Oh my gosh, Megan, I look back and I think I'm a little crazy for trying to make all this work. Of course, he decided to make his appearance on game day. My plan was to not miss any games, and but I also wanted him to come into this world when he was ready. So we were going to leave on Thursday, we were going to leave to go to Indy. I was going to leave on Thursday. The team had left on Wednesday. And I had orchestrated a flight to get there, which was nice because it's about a 7-hour trip, but it would have taken me an hour to fly. So I was like, okay, logistically, this could work with a baby. I could go there, coach, come back real quick. Well, about 4:30 a.m., I started having contractions. And my first thought was, darn, I don't get to go to the game. So went to the hospital around 1 p.m. that day. They said I was at a 6. For those of you who don't know, that's progressing pretty quickly out of 10. And so I was like, can I have this baby by 4:30? Because that's what time tip-off was. And I wanted to watch it. And they're like, well, it's kind of up to you. Well, I was transitioning, which is the toughest part of the labor during the game, but I made my sister go get a USB port and a laptop so we could hook it up and watch it. So there was the Lady Panthers in the background. I kind of had to snap my fingers every once in a while to the nurses and my support system. My mom and my sister were in the room with me because they tend to watch the game a little bit more than help a lady get through labor. So I was like, guys, focus. I guess I watched the first quarter pretty seamlessly, but then after that, there was no way I could focus on both at the same time. So at that time, I was doing it, med and epidural free, and I was transitioning to 10. So it was pretty intense labor. And but we ended up with a beautiful baby boy that evening. And when the calmness settled, I did rewatch the game that night just to see what I missed. And then the wheels started turning in my head. I'm like, we play on Saturday. I wonder if I can call and rearrange my flight to take me to Louisville, there and back. We play Bellarmine Saturday. And I'm like, well, first thing, I have to ask for a 24-hour discharge because it's typical to stay 2 nights in the hospital. So I requested that, and things went pretty quickly and everything went smoothly. So I was able to be discharged from the hospital. I literally went from the hospital. I went, me and my husband and Cy and Crosby, and then my parents and my sister. I went to my house real quick, grabbed, changed, showered real quick, changed, and then jumped on a plane. And Saturday was cheering on my team at Bellarmine. Thank goodness Coach Egan did the coaching duties and the standing duties, but I was able to be on the bench and kind of observe and watch. But that's just, this team is so special. I just didn't want to miss 1 minute with them, and it all worked out great. And so I was a jet setter the second day of his life. Yeah, he has no idea. Right.
Did Cy go with you on the plane to the game?
Yeah, he did. So we actually had a Drury alum that was the head of the pediatric critical care unit at the University of Louisville. So he was actually a kind of a honorary head coach, and he set the bench with us, and I kind of cleared everything with him, what we were doing. So we were in good hands. It's kind of nice. Again, you got all these extensions, and this is here a physician, a pediatric physician, a Drury alum is there at the game with us just in case. So it was nice. Everything worked out really well. I felt really good and safe about doing it, and I was able to cheer on the team from a little bit different perspective on the bench, which was tough, but good for me, and be their biggest cheerleader.
Oh my gosh, that's another moment where the stars aligned for you, right?
Oh, totally did. And the girls were kind of in a look of awe, but it was just that moment in the locker room after that I shared with them, just being there and getting a tough road win against Bellarmine. And I think that was just a moment that I'll never regret that decision, because it was really special. It worked out. They got to meet Cy for the first time, so it was a great moment for everyone.
Well, and did the team know you were going to show up, or was it a surprise when you walked in the gym?
Well, we had kind of tossed around the idea, should we surprise them, should we not? I'm like, well, this is an emotional game anyway. Let's go ahead and tell them. But I literally walked in with 5 minutes on the clock. So they were like, you're here, there's Cy. So we didn't want them to get over emotional about it. So we went ahead and told them pregame. But some of the fans were extremely surprised I was there, to say the least.
I bet. So, in Cy's too little, but Crosby totally gets it now. I mean, if anyone follows Drury women's basketball on social media, they see Crosby in your photos. You're holding her at interviews. She's incorporated right in the team. Does she love having a bunch of older sisters?
Loves it. I mean, this age has gotten really fun, because she'll go out and the girls are doing their warm-ups, so she's trying to do karaoke with them and use the stretch bands, and they embrace her, and she is just living the dream. I think she thinks she owns the O'Reilly Family Event Center, the buses we travel on, the hotels we check into. I mean, she's just queen bee and loving every moment, but the girls give her some good love and attention, and she's just having a blast. And that's what I love to see too, is she's grown up with these extremely positive role models in her life, and she's finding joy in what her mom does for a living, and she's able to be a part of it. It's really special for me, and I thank my lucky stars every day, because I'm so blessed to be able to give her those experiences as well.
Serious coaches need a serious education. The University of Denver offers a highly interactive and applied online education for sport and strength and conditioning coaches of all backgrounds. Students benefit from a comprehensive yet flexible curriculum to help you achieve your personal and professional goals. Come and learn from professors who are renowned leaders in coach education and dedicated to your success. Submit an application year-round and begin during any 10-week quarter with the University of Denver. Invest in yourself now and turn your passion into a successful career as a coach. For more information, head over to wecoachsports.org/DU.
And talking about being blessed and what a special group and team you have. Tomorrow is senior day. This is a class that I believe has won 3 straight conference championships, about to vie for their 4th. So what does tomorrow mean to you, and knowing what they've experienced under your wings?
Yeah, tomorrow is it's going to be an emotional day. Thankfully, I think we've got a lot of basketball ahead of us, but I've got 3 4-year seniors in Brooke, Haley, and Deja, and they are just they're a group that has only tallied 8 losses in their 4 years currently, and They made history as a three-peat conference championship with the potential to do it again. And they have just worked so hard, and they've emulated everything it means to be a Lady Panther and on and off the court. And so it's going to be an emotional day, but as a coach, that's some advice I would give too, is soak it up, but develop these players in 4 years so they do leave, part of their legacy, and they have enjoyed their experiences and they've done something special. This group is an anomaly, that's for sure. I don't know how many seniors that go through a class have experienced the successes they have. I've never seen anything like it in my playing career or coaching career. So it's going to be an emotional day, but I think they're still hungry for more. So I hope I have a lot of basketball left with them.
I hope so too. And not only have you referenced not having, I mean, we don't see that across any sport at any level, really. It is pretty epic.
Yeah. What they've done is, and I think they just found the right fit, and I think that's really important in this day and age. They've been so happy with their experience at Drury, but then they've been so successful because, they picked right into a system that kind of fit their style of play, which I think is important. So that yielded to a lot of success for them. And so I'm so happy for them. We've got one that's Haley's the only player in Division II with 2,000 points and 1,000 rebounds. And then she's going to leave with the all-time leading scorer and rebounder in Drury history. And then Deja, our point guard, is the leading assist getter in Drury history. And then our other kid, Brooke Stanfield, she's been kind of coming off our bench as a 6th, 7th man since her freshman year. And she's just embraced that role. So for underclassmen to see her never really start, but always be a big piece of the puzzle. And she's president of our FCA. I mean, these kids are just great. And so you kind of want to foster and mentor those kids so they can, then leave and walk out the Drury doors and be successful stewards of the community. And like I said earlier, successful in their careers as moms, as wives. So I'm looking forward to see what their future holds. I just don't want to speed it up at all.
Right. We don't want it to end quite yet. So,
exactly.
and I want to go back because last year was really, not only have they won 3 straight conference championships last year, you go to the Final Four. I referenced in my opening comments, your only loss is in the national semifinals. You're personally named D2 Coach of the Year, Conference Coach of the Year. You've talked about soaking it up with your team. Did you take time to soak up last year's success?
Yeah, I think that's something that when you have the goal of getting the ultimate prize, if you don't win your last game, there's always a little taste of disappointment. And for me, we had, especially with those 3 and Haley and Deja, we had a moment on the couch where we all just let it go, and I'll never forget that. It was a really sad moment for us. Here come the tears streaming and they're sobbing, but somehow, some way, I think that brought us really, really close. And that's real emotion. I mean, it's raw. You're there together experiencing it. So even that's kind of what I love about sport. The highs are high, but the lows are low, but it's so real and authentic that you kind of grow with the people you're experiencing those highs and lows with. So I think that's something to embrace is the disappointments in this career, because if you use that in a way to become a tool to become closer to your team or the players, then I think that can only help you moving forward. And I think that's part of our success this year is we kind of experienced that bad taste and that loss, but it kind of bonded us, and they've kind of had this tunnel vision mentality of domination and trying to win it all. And I think they've got a good perspective from their last loss about that.
Right. So then when you get back on campus with them, with the full team, summer workouts in the fall, was it easier or harder than expected to refocus them on another run at a championship?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I mean, it was so easy they're coachable. They worked hard. They just never took plays off. And that's a testament to their leadership. I mean, we always say the best teams are player led, and that's true about this team. You've got 3 seniors who have been through the rigors of what we do and who we are and how hard we play. And they're showing that example to the younger kids every single day. So it's funny, how culture works itself out. It's almost like if you're not working hard or if you're not being coachable, you're kind of an outcast and an outlier because everyone else around you is. And that's a testament to leadership. And this veteran group definitely pushed each other from the get-go. And that's kind of a nice thing to establish as a coach, is if you can get your leaders to buy in and basically say what you'd say and do what you do, then the others just kind of naturally follow along because that's their peers. Sometimes it's easy to roll your eyes at your coach, but I think, when your peers are doing it and everyone else around you is doing it, you're going to feel a little bit on the outs if you're not doing it. So it's kind of that natural buy-in with the numbers. And I think that's something that has helped our program this year.
Well, no doubt. And I mean, you brought up winning team culture. That was something I wanted to chat with you about, because not only did you establish it, but now to sustain that success and sustain what you're just describing, do you intentionally talk about it, or now is it just at a stage where it sort of happens on its own?
A little bit of both, in the initial stages when you get them on campus for the first time and there's that buzz in the air of the first day of school and the first day of practice, you kind of have to talk about, listen, we've worked really hard to establish this culture in the locker room, on the court, in the classroom. This is what the expectations are when you're a Drury Lady Panther and you're representing our institution. And this is what the standards we're going to hold you to and accountable to. And why? Because we want you to be the best version of yourself that you can be to help this team. And so I think it comes naturally because everyone else is doing that. But I also think there has to be some constant reminders. You've got a few standards, like always say thank you to the bus driver when you're leaving the bus, leave places nicer than when you found them. Make sure that, you're sitting in the first 3 rows and you introduce yourself to your teacher and you pick up the phone every once in a while, make that phone call instead of a text. There's just some little nuances within our program that the freshmen have to learn, but they learn and catch on really quickly when you've got those good returners that know how and what to do and say within our program. So culture is just, it's a funny word that we throw around a lot, but it's really the essence of how your team goes about its business on the daily. And I think for us, you have to recognize how you want an outsider to portray your team. I mean, kind of the insiders know what good kids we have, but if someone were to come and follow you for a day, what impression would they give? And we're always reminding our kids that you have a lot of eyes on you, especially young ones, which is phenomenal. But I think for a coach, once you do establish that culture, just continue to bring in kids that will foster that and not work against the grain. And that's part of our job as coaches, is recruiting the right fit. I am fortunate enough, I feel like, at Drury that I get to be a little picky. I want to recruit great basketball players, but I'm going to turn over a couple more stones and see if I can find the combo of a great human being, a great basketball player, a good student. And I don't want our culture to go the wrong direction. So that's where I think we have to be a little bit picky as coaches, is you can mentor and teach kids, but you also have to make sure it's the right fit within what you're trying to do as a culture.
Great advice for any leader, really. I mean, I know in my position, even building my staff around me, right, is like we have to be picky if we're going to put the right people around us to ultimately get where we want to go.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's so important, and that's a pretty good recipe for success, I'd say, when you have good people around you.
Absolutely. They only make us better, so it's important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, do you have team rules, or do your leaders establish team rules? How does that work?
I've been and seen a lot of different programs do a lot of different ways. I've seen 3-inch thick binders full of rules, and we don't have anything written down. We talk about it a lot, like wrong, right, and different. We also say in our preseason meetings, like, how would you handle this situation? Like, we kind of try to give examples and not just like, here, memorize all these rules and don't do them. It feels to me like you're just setting a tone and handcuffing them right away and being a disciplinarian, where really this is kind of a respect thing. Like, you respect the program, you respect the coaches will respect you, will talk to you, not at you. So we don't have rules written down. I tell them at the end of the day, if you want to live by three rules to establish and keep our program culture, it's don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass the school, and don't embarrass the women's basketball program. And if you are okay with something being broadcast on the biggest, brightest billboard, then it's probably fine. If you're not, maybe you should rethink that decision. So, just bring it home and bring it. It doesn't have to be kind of this dominating, like, you're not going to do this, you're going to do this, you're not going to, it's a conversation for us. And I think that's why a lot of our kids do the right thing, make the right choices. And I've always been able to lay my head down on my pillow at night and go to sleep knowing that they're doing the right thing and making the right decisions, and they've got a good head on their shoulders.
Speaking of going to sleep at night, outside of the babies, what keeps you awake?
Oh my goodness. Winning and losing, I think for me, this is how I am, and I want to coach players like this. You want to cry every time you win, and you want to cry every time you lose. You have that joy and that passion about the game, and also preparing. Like, that needs to be kind of the first thought. Have I done everything to put this team in the best position to win? Have I made the right decisions? Have I mentored them the right way? It changes every day. And I can kind of relate coaching to be a mom, even with a newborn. One of the best advice that my mom gave me is, don't worry, it'll change tomorrow, or it'll change next week. If they're gassy today, hopefully tomorrow they're better. If they've got a runny nose this week, next week it'll go away. So that's kind of like coaching. It just changes daily. Decisions change daily. So you just want to make sure that you're doing right by your team. And of course, you want to make the right decisions. And that's your goal. And I think just if it comes from, a good place of love, then you really can't make the wrong decision. So, when you're at 2 a.m., you're either thinking of X's and O's and drawing up a play, or what your players are doing, or, if you've done everything right and made the right decisions for them. And, at the end of the day, I hope I've done right by them.
Speaking of some of those right decisions, I want to chat about this. So you're a basketball star, right? You have a stellar high school career. You have a stellar college career at Drury. But when you graduated, you did not go into coaching. You went into marketing, I think, if I'm correct. So
Yep.
Talk us through that decision to not pursue basketball, and then you eventually came back as an assistant coach.
Yeah, well, I guess when I first went into college, I was a little indecisive. So when they're finally like, okay, Molly, you have to choose a major at this point. You're a sophomore, going to be a junior. I was just getting all my prereqs out of the way. I said, well, I closed my eyes and pointed, basically, but business sounded good to me. It was kind of universal. So I did a double major in marketing and management, and a minor in global studies. And so I guess after graduation, I never really thought about being a coach, because I didn't get my teaching degree. And I kind of always thought, well, you're going to have to start at 7th grade science or 8th grade PE and, coach the middle school B team. I didn't really kind of understand. I just thought you had to really work your way up. And so after graduation, I got my MBA, and the president of a neurosurgical group here in town was also getting his MBA. And he said, hey, our marketing director position is open. Would you like to interview? And in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm not even qualified for this. I really haven't had a job in my life because I play basketball, all year round. And so I said, absolutely, it'll be good interview experience. Well, a couple of days later, he offered me the job, which was, a surprise to me, but I was very thankful, and it was a great experience. So, you are right place, right time, and know the right people. And I ended up being a marketing director for a group of 12 neurosurgeons here in Springfield. And it was a great use of my degree, obviously. And so I was doing that for a few years. And then the assistant coach at Drury had left for a head high school coach position. And the head coach that I played under for a year was still there. And everyone was kind of in my ear, like, Molly, you should apply for the assistant job at Drury. I'm like, I never, I love the game, but I never really thought I would go into coaching. That was kind of never really an avenue for me. And I had a high basketball IQ. I was a point guard. So the game came pretty easily to me, especially with the X's and O's and thinking it through. So finally, everyone, after pushing me a little bit, I went into the head coach's office at the time. I was like, would you encourage me to apply for this spot? And he said, hell yeah, I'd encourage it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, your words, not mine. And so I talked to him a little bit more, and, you know, it was a pay cut for me. But just as I thought about it more, I'm like, I've loved this game since I was itty bitty. To have the opportunity to be a part of it at the college level, at my alma mater, can I really pass this up? So I think it was a gamble for me because I liked my marketing job. It was talking to people. It was a great job right out of college. It paid well. So here I am, you know, going back to my roots and taking a pay cut. But oh my gosh, I don't think I could ever go back to the corporate world. I mean, this has been so satisfying. And so I was assistant there for a few years, and then had the interim tag for a while, and then as the head coach. And then once that got knocked off, I guess the rest is kind of history. But so thankful for that opportunity. And who knew you could start out in college right away? So I would tell those youngins playing, you know, find somewhere to be a GA and get your foot in, and again, network with people. The more conventions you can go to, or meetings you can go to, or learning sessions you can go to, just to shake hands and have that Rolodex of contacts that you can make. It's huge, because if you have those connections and you can find a GA position somewhere and you do a really good job. You know, I hired my GA, and now she's the head coach of Roosevelt University in Chicago, her hometown. So you can excel your career pretty quickly if you work hard, and you can find the right spot to kind of start your career.
Great advice for our young folks. I was going to actually ask you if you could go back and tell your younger self something, but I think that just fed right into it there. So I'm curious, right? So when you enter coaching, you're an assistant coach for the coach you played for. So there was obviously a familiarity there with not only your guys' dynamic, but the program itself. But when you stepped into that head coach role, what was the greatest aha or takeaway, I think, in that learning curve?
Well, it was kind of no longer like suggesting. I had to make the decision. And I think that was something that I was confident with, because I kind of had a unique situation that last year being a head coach. I was actually assistant for two different head coaches at Drury. And so I played for two different head coaches at Drury. I played for two different legendary head coaches in Sue Schubel and Stephanie Phillips at Kickapoo. So I had drawn from a lot of different people, which was kind of rare. In my short experience, you know, as a player and an assistant coach, I had already been mentored by 6 different male and female coaches. So I think what I took, and this is where I think younger kids need to be really intuitive and intentional with what you're doing, is look at the things that are making them successful, or look at the things that you could say, I don't think I'd quite do it that way, but maybe a twist on that. So I learned a lot of what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, just from my days as a player and as an assistant coach. That last year I was an assistant coach, our head coach had taken a leave of absence. So I had basically been thrown in the fire and like, hey, run this program. And so I was doing everything from the recruiting, reconciling a budget, the management of our players, calendars. So the more you can do, the better you'll be prepared. So if there's something you don't feel comfortable with, if it's you don't make a lot of recruiting calls, ask that head coach, hey, do you mind if, and it might not be your top recruit, but hey, do you mind if I call Susie? And she might be the 6th one down the list. So maybe your head coach would feel comfortable either eavesdropping in on that call or helping you through it. But the more prepared you can be to move that chair over to make those decisions, the better. And how do you get prepared? You just ask to do things, and you take initiative too. Some of my best assistant coaches have been the ones that take initiative. And I think that's harder and harder to find these days. I mean, you've got a lot of, yes, I'll do this, so yes, ma'am people, but do you have those people that'll take initiative to maybe do something extra or beyond the call of duty? And that's just going to help you as you transition to your goals as a head coach, and just that preparedness and that insightfulness of what's about to come and what do I need to maybe brush up on in my skill set as a coach. You could ask your coach if you don't have a lot of opportunities to call plays or draw up something. Hey, in practice, do you care if I, you know, in a situation, drop a play, last minute timeout, you know, just ask. And I imagine a lot of coaches, it's kind of a feather in our cap if we can groom the next generation of head coaches or groom the next head coach into fulfilling their dreams. So I doubt many will say no. And if that's the case, again, pick up the phone and call and get advice. So there's always a way to get better at your craft. You just have to maybe work a little bit and ask some more questions and put that initiative in.
I'm curious, you've had a phenomenal amount of success in a very short amount of time. What has challenged you the most, you think, in your time there at Drury?
I think there's a little bit of pressure that comes with the tradition. And you always feel that, you could have a great game and blow a team out by 30, and there's still some people that might, well, that wasn't the cleanest game, or blah, blah, didn't do great, or what were you thinking when you had these sub, there's just, you're always kind of in a spotlight in this position, wherever you're at. And it's always going to come back on you, which it should. I think that's something that we have to embrace with coaches. You can take some credit for the losses and the hard times. And it's something that I personally, look to see how you can balance and manage that emotionally, because again, the highs and lows, but it's something you kind of have to embrace. And, it's tough. It's tough at times because it's not always going to go your way. We've been fortunate enough to have some longevity of success here at Drury, but everyone's kind of looking under a microscope, and you're aware of that always. So that's always in the back of your mind. But I think there's always a good saying, be where your feet are, and just kind of be in that moment, and don't dread what's to come. Don't get too excited what's to come. Just kind of be present. Even though you're maybe being criticized, or people are being critical, or there's a lot of people that are supportive or in your corner, but sometimes the criticism is a louder voice. Just kind of muffle that and know you're doing a good job.
That's awesome. I so appreciate our chat here, but I'm not letting you go yet, because we end every episode with rapid fire. So I can put you on the hot seat for a couple seconds here.
Uh-oh, I got to get those brain waves going then.
Right. That mom brain needs to go out the window right now. So
exactly.
All right, I'm going to throw you an easy one to start. Name something on your bucket list.
Oh, I want to go to Australia.
What's an app on your phone that you can't live without?
Probably my email.
Favorite arena you've coached or played a game?
The O'Reilly Family Event Center. It's the best in Division 2.
If we snuck up on you watching film, what snacks would we find beside you?
You'd probably find some donuts. Like, I'm a sweets person, so any type of sweets. And probably a big thing of water. I've got to always stay hydrated.
Derek better have donuts on speed dial, right?
Right. I'm kind of a sucker for them.
All right, last one. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, you don't want to hear me sing karaoke, but I love This Is Our House, just because I'm a sports person, and, it gets me pumped up. So that song, Welcome to My House, Our House, whatever it is. I would need the words in front of me.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, I can't seriously thank you enough. I know you got a lot going on. You're getting ready for senior day tomorrow. Get ready for another run at a championship. We're going to be following the Lady Panthers down the stretch and cheering for you.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so fun. I loved and enjoyed it. And if anyone wants to get in touch with me, my information is on our website. I would love to hear from you, or even if you need an ear to bend, I'm there. And this is good for us as a coaching community.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Molly. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Megan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Lavoie, host of Tucker Center Talks. Every 2 weeks, we'll talk about a variety of topics that make a difference in the lives of girls and women in sport. I'll talk to leading scholars around the world, and we'll share our cutting-edge research. Tune in to Tucker Center Talks on WISP Sports, wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening to today's episode with Molly Miller. Subscribe to WISP Sports in your podcast app to catch each new episode dropping every other Thursday. For women's basketball coaches and fans listening to today's episode, we're going to see you in New Orleans at the Final Four coming up. Check out our website to find out exactly where we'll be. Please give us a follow and share your thoughts on our social media pages at WeCoach or at WISP Sports on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And until next time, all sports, one voice, WeCoach.